BBC project this morning called The People's Passion. We've commissioned a brand new piece of music for Easter, which will also be the theme music for a drama series to be broadcast on radio during Holy Week. And we want you to learn that music, share your experiences with choirs across the country, who will all be joining in, and then for you to perform it. So one of those who can tell us how much he gets out of singing and music is Mark Burstow, who's the musical director of the Bournemouth Male Voice Choir. So, Mark, good morning to you.
Good morning, Chrissy.
We were just talking just now to Sasha Johnson-Manning, who's got together, composed all this music, and I said to her, can anyone sing? So that's a question I would ask to you.
Yeah, I was really interested in that, and I was interested in what you both were saying about making singing inclusive, because Gustav Holst once said that if he had a person for 10 minutes every day, he could teach anyone to sing. And we find that we try in Bournemouth Male Voice Choir to make things as inclusive as we possibly can. Therefore, most people can pitch a note from the piano or pitch a note from another singer, and then I spend the time working with them. If they've got the interest and the commitment to it, I can spend the time with them, helping them fulfill those ambitions to sing. So I'm not sure everybody can give the degree of commitment they need if they haven't done it very much before, but if you're interested in it,
yes.
I think I've found that most people, if they're interested in it and put something into it, they'll get something back from it.
You hear people say, don't you, oh, I can't sing for toffee, no, tone deaf. So you're really saying with a bit of effort and some teaching, they can get there or be acceptable in a choir.
Well, I think that's the thing. I mean, I really agree with what Gareth was saying earlier on about, you know, singing on your own doesn't really do it. We're not all going to be soloists.
No.
But, you know, if you can sing in tune, if you're musical, inherently musical, and if you're prepared to learn, I think a lot of people can do a lot more than they think they can. I think we're a lot better than we think we are.
Yes, and I was saying that there is a lot of evidence to say that singing is really good for you. It seems to do something, doesn't it, to the brain?
Yeah, I mean, I was really interested in that as well, because there have been some studies in universities. I was reading one last night, actually, just before I came in here this morning, about a study in a Japanese university that actually looked at how the singing affected sort of the chemistry of your body. And that, you know, as Gareth said, about releasing endorphins, about seeing it as a sort of aerobic exercise, but of course you learn to breathe well, you learn about good posture, and just the sheer joy of singing. I mean, I was talking to a chap last rehearsal of last term from my choir, and we were both saying how busy we were at work and how busy life was and things, and we both said, gosh, coming out tonight, you know, after being a hard day in work, it's really difficult to do that. But as soon as you get there, all those sort of workaday stresses tend to bleed off.
Yes.
And within half an hour of being there,
you feel better.
You feel better, and sure, I mean, what more could you want, really?
I know, perfect. Well, you're doing a very good job to encourage people. What sort of people are in your choir then? I mean, just ordinary everyday folk like us?
Gosh, everybody you could imagine. Our age range is from 17 to over 70. We've got students, academics, bus drivers, engineers, IT chaps, civil servants, care workers, railway workers, all sorts of people from all sorts of different working lives. It's an amazingly diverse organisation, as Bournemouth Male Voice Choir.
So are you going to be involved in the People's Passion, do you think, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. I was really interested in hearing about it from Sasha earlier on. I thought it was splendid, because I was particularly interested when she was talking about words being the most important thing in her composition, because singing in a choir also gives a chance for artistic expression. And, you know, we'd all feel a bit strange, wouldn't we, standing up reciting a piece of poetry, or
yes.
On our own perhaps, or singing on our own. But it's really interesting to be able to then sing very fine words to fine music and things that mean something. I mean, for example, we're recording a new CD on the 21st of January, and the title of it's One Voice. And the idea of that, you look around and find that there's more than one voice in the words of that title track. It fits very much into that. So I mean, Sasha's interview this morning did a great thing to sell the idea of the people's passion to me. Singing is a people's passion, so I think we definitely want to be involved in that. It'll be the first the choir members will have heard about that hearing this interview this morning, but I think it'll be a fabulous thing for us to be involved in.
So you were the youngest, one of the youngest, I think, conductor of any male voice choir in the UK, weren't you, back in 1991?
Gosh, yeah, it was 100 years ago. Yeah, I've been doing it for 20 years this year.
It made me think, therefore, you've done many, many times if you got a group of people with a new work like the People's Passion. So what would you do with them? What would be your first steps to get them involved and doing it right?
Yeah, I mean, we've already touched on this about this idea of inclusion. And over the years, I mean, you learn all the time, don't you? And when I started doing things 20 years ago, I hadn't thought about these sort of things, about being so inclusive. But now I've tried to work out ways to make it more inclusive. So we do things like, there's a chap in America who's a professional singer with an American professional group, and he records all 4 parts of a new piece for me. And he's a professional singer, a very, very fine singer, and he records all 4 parts, and we supply each member of the choir with a learning aid, which has their part playing loudly, and then the other 3 parts quietly behind, so they can sing along with their part, for example. Or they can turn off his part and sing in their own part with the other 3 there, or whatever they want to do, what combination. I produce MIDI files which people can play on their computer, which play out their part for them. And of course we do the traditional stuff as well, in that, you know, we start a new piece and I play through it for them and they listen to it and get a sense of the piece, the tonality. We talk about the words, we look at the rhythm individually on its own. So really what I try to do when I'm teaching the choir is to think about taking from things that they do know to things that they don't know. So if they're good at reading rhythms, let's learn the rhythms, let's learn the meter off, and then get the notes in afterwards. So it's lots of different ways of looking at it. I suppose everybody has different learning styles, and it's about trying to adapt your methods to the different learning styles that appear in your group.
But if they want to join you because they've heard you say it makes you feel better, you're all for that too, aren't you?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. I think it's so important. You know, we do enjoy what we do. I mean, when we meet on a Tuesday night, we meet at 7:30 on a Tuesday night over in our hall in Norwood Place in Folkestone. And when we meet in there on a Tuesday night, we work hard for 2 hours. And, you know, we don't stop until we've got what we want out of the music. But there's a great sense of achievement for the guys. And a bunch of guys who perhaps haven't sung before, being able to put on a fine concert, as we just did in the Lighthouse at the end of November, or record a CD as we're about to do our 3rd CD, or win a competition as we did last time we went out and competed, is a really special thing and a really enjoyable thing.
It's a huge sense of achievement, isn't it, when you've done it? It's wonderful stuff. Now, I'm sure we're all interested what you're going to make of the People's Passion. Now you've said you're going to throw your hat into the arena and become involved. That'll be lovely.
Absolutely.
New CD coming out, but we've actually got your other CD here. Sing for Your Life.
Absolutely.
And so I've chosen Come Let Us to the Lord Our God.
Lovely.
Mark, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for talking to me.
Best of luck. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chrissy. Bye.